Have you ever realized how some people only remember you when they need something? How you sacrifice your time, rest, and peace just to help others, only for them to vanish once they've gotten what they wanted? If you've ever felt that way, this story is for you. Because life will keep taking from you until you finally decide to stop being endlessly available. In a peaceful countryside village wrapped in golden fields, there lived a man named Ethan. Everyone knew him well. If a cart was stuck in the mud, people called Ethan. If rain leaked through a roof, Ethan would be there, with his tools. If someone needed advice or company, Ethan was the first to show up. He never refused anyone. Helping others made him believe he was doing something good. And for a while, he was right. But gradually, Ethan's own life stopped being his own. His farm sat half-plowed. His little cottage needed mending. Yet he spent his days repairing other people's fences and roofs. Each evening, when he dragged himself home, dusty, sore, and exhausted, his mother would sigh and say gently, "Ethan, my dear, you help everyone." "But who helps you?" He'd give her a weary smile. "It's all right, Mom. Someday they'll remember how kind I was." But that day never came. One evening, the sky turned dark and heavy with storm clouds. The villagers rushed out, trying to save their crops before the rain hit. Ethan didn't think twice. He ran straight to help his friend Jacob, whose hay bales still lay uncovered. Together, they worked furiously, tying and covering as the first drops began to fall. But back at Ethan's own field, his golden wheat stood unprotected. When he finally returned home, drenched and shivering, it was already too late. The rain had destroyed everything. His entire harvest lay in muddy ruin. He sat on his porch, water dripping from his hair, staring silently at the soaked land that had once given him hope. That night, his mother's voice was soft but heavy. "You saved everyone's harvest, Ethan, except your own." He said nothing, but inside, something quietly shattered. At sunrise, Ethan walked to the far edge of the village, where old George, a wise farmer, lived beside the river. "George," he began, "I don't understand. I help everyone, yet I feel empty. It's not the work that exhausts me, it's the people." The old man looked out at the moving river and said, "Do you see that river, Ethan? It nourishes the trees, the crops, and the animals. But when too much rain comes and it forgets its path, what happens?" Ethan thought for a moment. "It floods and destroys everything." George nodded. "Exactly. Even kindness needs boundaries. Without them, it turns into self-destruction. Stop trying to be everywhere for everyone. Be somewhere for yourself." Then George gave him a simple challenge. For the next 7 days, don't say yes right away. When someone asks for help, take a moment and ask yourself, can I truly afford this right now? If the answer is no, just say not today. Then watch what happens. That week felt unusually quiet for Ethan. On the very first day, Jacob came running toward his field, panic written all over his face. "Ethan, my bull's fallen sick. I need help getting him to the vet." Ethan glanced at his own half-plowed land. His chest tightened as duty and desire wrestled inside him. After a long breath, he answered gently, "I'm sorry, Jacob, I can't come today. I need to finish my own work." Jacob blinked in surprise. "You're refusing me?" Ethan nodded calmly, only for now. "I'll lend a hand tomorrow, just not today." Jacob frowned, muttered something under his breath, and walked away. Guilt pricked Ethan for a moment, but he turned back to his plow and kept going. By sunset, his field was finally ready for planting, the first time in months he'd seen his own work complete. The next day, more villagers appeared asking small favors. Ethan responded kindly but stood firm. He said no, not with anger, but with quiet certainty. That night, he slept under a sky washed clean by wind, feeling a peace he hadn't known in years. By the 4th day, the weather turned again. Dark clouds rolled in, and soon heavy rain hammered down. Water began dripping from the ceiling of his cottage. Ethan looked around. No one came knocking. No one offered help. He smiled faintly. Once, the entire village leaned on him for everything. Now that he'd stepped back, silence was his only company. But rather than bitterness, a strange strength rose in him. He fetched his tools, climbed up, and patched the roof himself, soaked to the skin but steady. Later that night, sitting beneath the repaired ceiling, he whispered to the quiet, "So this is what self-respect feels like." Weeks went by, and something inside Ethan shifted. He stopped rushing to please everyone. He no longer chased approval. He chose peace instead, and the world adjusted in surprising ways. Jacob began solving his own problems. Neighbors stopped knocking for trivial things. Ethan's crops thrived, the fields greener than they had ever been. His back felt lighter, his laughter returned, and people still greeted him warmly. Only now they respected him more, because Ethan wasn't the man who fixed everything anymore. He was the man who had learned to value himself. One golden evening, old George stopped by. He stood admiring Ethan's flourishing land and smiled. "Well, Ethan, did the world fall apart when you stopped being available to everyone?" Ethan chuckled softly. "No, George. It didn't fall apart. It got better." The old man nodded. "Exactly. The moment you stopped saying yes to everyone else, you finally said yes to yourself. So tell me, my friend, are you like Ethan? Always there for everyone, yet empty inside? Remember this, saying no doesn't make you cruel. It means you're choosing calm over chaos. When you stop stretching yourself thin for everyone, you finally make room to become someone for yourself. People learn to honor what you protect. So guard your time, your mind, and your energy. And if Ethan's journey stirred something in you, let it be this reminder: kindness matters, but so do you.